So this is gonna be a little off the cuff, just something that came to me. I was thinking about my journey and thinking about how how I've received rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection, and still I'm a doctor. Found a way to get it done, even though it has been ridiculously hard, is what I'll say. Um, so this video, I'm hopeful that if there's somebody watching this who is wondering if this is even something for them, a career in medicine, and maybe it's not a career in medicine, and something that you have worked tirelessly for. I'm a type A perfectionist. There's a reason why I went into oculoplastic surgery, but I'm going to try to do this in as few takes as possible. So, like the title, I've received over 100 rejections and still became a doctor. And you may be listening, watching, and wondering how in the world that's even possible. Well, with the many stages from, being pre-med to getting into medical school, then, applying for residency and fellowship if you choose to do that. Every step of the way, there are countless applications. With medical school alone, I applied to, it was somewhere around 20 to 30 medical schools. And I received one acceptance. I was waitlisted at another school, but I got one acceptance. So that alone, I was already at basically about 30 rejections from day one. Receiving rejection after rejection after rejection, one may think that you get used to it, that it's just another day, it's just another no, it's just another, and you may have heard, on podcasts, YouTube videos, all this stuff where it's, a rejection is just one step closer to succeeding. It still hurts. I mean, many times it's felt like a gut punch. Another paper cut that you got all over the place, and you got wounds all over the place, metaphorically speaking, and it's like, why not me, right? I'm putting in the work, why not me? So I'm thinking about things, looking back at my journey, and if I could sit myself down, the younger me, for the gray hairs, and what would I say? So I'm hopeful that some of these things may be helpful for you, especially if you are taking the MCAT for the 5th time, you're reapplying to residency because you didn't match, or whatever goal it is that you're hoping to attain, that you're striving for, but it's difficult. You're discouraged, frustrated, angry, sad. Why not me? So I took some notes, really just things that came to me, and we're gonna see how this goes. So the first one is, you will grow through what you go through. I cannot take credit for that. I heard that on a YouTube channel, Motiversity. I was listening to it when I was working out, and I just had to stop because I was like, ooh, I felt that. You will grow through what you go through. What I really like about that is it, and I think that's why I paused. When you go through so many things, so much adversity, especially when you do so by yourself, it can feel very lonely. Comparison syndrome is on 10 with social media and everything. And it's hard. You will grow through what you go through. So flipping it, it's not wasted pain. Situations, setbacks can still be used to your advantage. They can still be lessons to learn from. They can still be armor that you can utilize to improve. It's not wasted pain. They can still be frustrated. It can be frustrated. All right, so the next thing, your dream, goal, aspiration, whatever it is that you're striving for, it only ends when you stop showing up. When I play college basketball, I wake up early, go to the gym, and I don't go to the gym right when it opened. It was dark, and it's just me and the hoop, okay? And this is before actual practice. This is before actual weights. And I was pre-med at the time, and so I had to study, right? There's something about knowing that you're working, you're putting in that work, it's just you. Other people sleeping, right? And you're striving hard for your goals. You may not be the face of the program. You may not be that residency applicant that everybody's like, oh, look at your scores. You may not have the job offer that you want. But your dream, your goal, your aspiration only ends when you stop showing up. And that's a beautiful thing. Life is incredibly hard. But to know and to believe that it only stops when you stop. When you stop. So think about that. I gotta think about it. So the next thing, you have more options than you think. This one I just wanted to mention it because many times rejection, setback, failure, it feels like the end. And a lot of these things that I'm saying, like, I'm probably gonna have to watch this back so I can study this too. Okay, I'm very much a student in this. But you have more options than you think. When something doesn't go the way that we want it to, it doesn't mean it's the end. It could be as simple as the timing wasn't right, or the way that you approached it, like a recipe, you had the wrong ingredients, or maybe you just have to adjust one thing. Instead of a cup, you got to add 2 cups. Sometimes it's just a phone call. Sometimes it's knocking on a door. I mean, it could be as simple as walking into a clinic that you drive by and introducing yourself and saying, this is who I am. This is what I can offer. I don't know if you're hiring, but here's my business card. Now, maybe right in that moment they don't need you, but 6 months from now they might. They might be expanding at that time, and it was, where's that business card again? And you could get that phone call. It may not be the 5th person that you speak to, but what if it's the 37th person that you speak to, and that's the person that leads to that door opening? 37 people. That's a lot of people you got to talk to. That's a lot of, this is about to be awkward. What am I going to say when I walk into whatever? But when you get to that 37th person, whatever it's going to be, I bet you're going to be so happy you did that. And I bet you are going to be so happy that you kept showing up. So really, I know I'm going a little bit of a tangent, which is my specialty. So the next thing is just a couple more things. Like I said in the beginning of the video, rejection hurts. Add any kind of word you want to go ahead and add. Rejection hurts. But it's short-lived if you allow it to be. And that's the key, if you allow it to be. But I think this is where the power of perspective comes in, right? It can seem as if it's the end. It can seem as if, well, it just wasn't meant to be because this is the 3rd time that I've tried. But what if it's the 4th time that leads to your success? What if it's not until your 40s where things start to turn? What if it's not until you take the board exam the 3rd time, because the first 2 times, they're basically, you just had to get in the rhythm. They're basically your warm-ups. Maybe you're someone that just, you take longer to warm up. And even though I'm saying you take longer to warm up, you just need to warm up. So if rejection isn't the end, what if it allows us an opportunity to take a step back so we can reassess? We can take a step back to reassess so we can build our foundation, and so we can try again. But now, what is so valuable? Experience. Now we have experience. We've been through it. And now we can show up again with a little bit more pep in your step, because you have an idea of what to expect. You know, it's like when I think about pole vaulters. I don't know anything about pole vaulting. Okay, I'm a hooper. But I think about when they lean back, right before they're about to take off. Lean back and then they go. And thinking about how with rejections, with setbacks, with adversity, what if it's just a lean back? Now, sometimes life is throwing me to the floor, okay? And that's for another video, else we're gonna be here for a long time. So the next one, which is the last one that I wanted to share, is one of my favorite quotes from the great Michael Jordan. And it ties into a title of an episode that I did a handful of years ago on my podcast, the Dr. Ghost podcast, called Failure Breeds Success. And it's like two words that shouldn't go together, and yet they do. I mean, you think about all the great athletes, the people in business, people who succeed. And if you had a coffee with them, tea, whatever's your jam, and hear their story, the countless hours they spent in the gym, you know, researching, the countless no's, the rejection after rejection after rejection, but they kept showing up. They didn't give up. So to end with one of my favorite quotes, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. So I have been rejected over and over and over again in my life. I still became a doctor. There's always challenges, there's always adversity, especially when you dare to show up as yourself. But if you are someone who just found out some difficult news, got a test score that you're upset about, have to wait another year to apply, have to wait another year to take that board exam again, have to wait for your time. Rejection is not the end. Success is.